Okay, I've masked off for painting the walkways. So I've just gone by the call out sheet and I measured in a couple of places, like the width of the wing ones. Now I'm not just going to paint grey over that. I'm going to go back to, I'll prime again and then do some pre-shading of black and then do the grey. So I've looked through my greys. I've only got about 150, but RLM 75, so H69 in Mr. Hobby it's not perfect, but it's near a match, and I'm not too fussed if it's out a bit. That's for this particular Phantom. The Tamiya ones, there's two different walkway colours, so go by what you're building and what scheme you're doing, because they will be different on some aircraft. They're not all the same. So yeah, now I'm going to paint them in. Okay, so that's done. So you can see, hopefully that shows up. I've kept it pretty much subtle, but similar to the rest of the paint scheme. Now if you wanted to just use the decals, you could post shade over them to break them up to suggest weathering, but like many, I do not like decals. I can usually find a way to find trouble with them, especially big ones, so I just prefer, it's pretty simple to mask off a walkway like that, so it's just easy to paint it. The only thing is, I will need to cut, if I'm going to put the walkway wording in, I'll use a ruler and just cut around the wording and just use that small section and put it on my walkway. And if that's the colour change from the decal to that, you may notice it, but it's only a tiny section. By the time I give it a wash and that, it should be starting to blend in. So that's the aircraft. Is pretty much, that's it I think for painting. I'll have to have another squeeze over the instructions because I haven't worked on it for over a week. I haven't had much time due to work. So I've just got to paint up the canopy still, or the whole canopy section, and I think I still got to paint in, yes, the rear end, the fin, the controllers on the back of the sidewinder, and then I can decal them as well. So once I'm sure I've completed what I need to on the aircraft, then I'll start to put down decals. And I usually start, when I do the aircraft part of the model, I do the underside, then I'll let that dry, and then I come back and do the rest of it. That way you can, when it's dry, I'll give it a gloss coat to protect the decals, and then you can sit it flat down again and do the rest of the aircraft. Okay, so I've done the decals on the bottom. I had to put this wingtip on to do the stars and bars because of that insert, this insert. So it needed to cover that, so I've glued it on, put that on. So the stencil data's on. I still need to put a couple more on, but I need to put the other wingtip on to do that. I painted up the canopies, same treatment as the spine got, so NATO black, faded NATO black and some XF1 randomly sprayed. Decals are on the weapons. This was just the Marathon itself. The Sparrow's got heaps on there. Now these are the Tamiya decals, because the F-4B decals does not do weapons, it just does the aircraft, but they went down alright. And sidewinders, and I painted in the gyros or the controllers, whatever you call them, on the back. So before I put the decals down, I put this on the surface just to get in behind the decal to make it soft. That says setter, but it's to make them softer. And I used microsol to set, and it worked fine. Even on the Tamiya ones, I wasn't sure if it would or not, because Tamiya decals are a bit thick. The F-4B ones are pretty thin, but it set no worries, so that's all good. So that's it for today's session for me, because it's getting way too hot in here. It's beyond comfortable now. So I'm back to work now for a couple of days, so when next I get back to it, then I can do the upper surfaces for the decals, put on this wing, so that you can see how good that fits. But I put, to glue it on, because I've painted, like I mentioned, some stages I don't like painting parts and gluing them on in case I get make a mess with the glue. But what I did was I used, so just in here I put down some extra thin Tamiya, which is not what I normally use. I normally use Mr. Cement SP. It dries fast. It dries even faster than that, but I have all three for different occasions. Anyway, I digress. So I put a bit of that there, and where it glues in here, I just a bit of CA glue on that wire, and I just tapped a bit in there just to hold the rear of it in, so it doesn't pull out. That's not right here. You gotta, there you go, you gotta hold your mouth the right way to make it sit properly. So when that's glued in, I can, there's just a couple more stencil decals that need to go on the edge of the wings there.